Supercoach 360.
Mission Supercoach 360. Animation.
Supercoach 360 podcast.
All right, well, we'll go on to the draw now. So we'll touch on a few of the teams and look at potentials that we go there. Not pod ownership, just in general. First one, I think we'll just go top team. Panthers, they won't lose against anyone, so they seem to always have a good run. But they play Dogs, Broncos, Raiders, Titans, Eels in the next 5. So obviously you're going to have Targo and May. You're going to hold both, at least till May gets potentially dropped. But you boys, any liking of any other Penrith players? Like obviously Nath, are you waiting for him to drop?
I think just about anyone down that left-hand side and Nath are all good options from Penrith over the next 5 weeks.
Yeah. They do have a couple of trappy options. Like we've talked about Arpey, even Fisher Harris.
I'd only go May, Targo, Kickout,
Luai.
Cleary.
I know you're not a fan of Luai.
Luai's had a pretty good year this year. He's only averaging 62. I think there's better out there.
Yeah.
For me,
And Yo? What about Yo?
Solid, but yeah, he's dropped off a bit since.
I don't mind Stephen Crichton,
You're a
to
fan.
be honest with you.
He's looked good. He's looked better this year. And the fact that Penrith haven't solely gone down their left, they haven't been afraid to go on the right. So, yeah, I haven't mind Critter
Well, they
as well.
scored 12 tries down their left, 5 down their right.
And I reckon if you went back last year, they were predominantly a lot more left
And
this
then
time.
a lot of the teams that they're playing, 5 of the teams they're playing concede over 50% of their tries on their right-hand side. So their left side's in for a field day over the next coming 6 weeks.
Yeah. So, Luai could be a good buy.
Could be.
Next up on the list, Storm, same thing. They play Raiders, Sharks, Warriors, Knights and Dragons over the next 5. So, I mean, load up on them. I think Harry, Munster and Parpy you'd obviously hold through the whole way. I know I've kind of thought I've had the thought of going Parpy up to Turbo, or maybe Parpy down to Turbo in the coming weeks, depending on what happens. Some people have called me crazy, but I'm not sure I want to trade Teddy either. You know, that fullback spot, you can only have 2. And, yeah, I think other than those 3 Melbourne players, any other good options?
I like Coates. Big fan of Coates and Cheese.
I had a look at Xavier Coates, 414k, good break even.
Jerome Hughes, too.
My issue is the floor with him. Like, I think his game without it, his tries and try assists, and he's only putting up 50s and 60s. So,
Well, he's averaging 64, so I'm pretty happy with that at the moment. And I think he can continue. Melbourne are only going to get better.
yeah, it's a good point. Just the fact that he doesn't have runs, but again, he could be wrong. You like Jerome Hughes, do you?
Yeah, I don't mind Jerome Hughes. If he's that halfback that just pokes along, does his job well. Averaging 64 at the moment. So
Yeah, I think bring up Xavier Coates for us. I think
he had him up second.
did he?
I forgot about that screen.
Yeah.
I think with Hughes, I think at halfback you either have to have Cleary or Hines. I think you're going to meet your 2 premiums. Maybe during Origin time you could go with Hughes, or I like a Benny Hunt option if he doesn't make the Queensland side. But yeah, I think the other 2 are your premium options.
There's your coach.
Yeah, so Xavier Coates, I think he put up he scored a 70 or 80 last week, but he had a try and a couple of assists.
87 last week, yeah. But his lowest score was only
Go down
45, so that's one of them things you can sort of cop that.
Yeah, well, like Con said, if he can maybe keep up the attacking stats, but I just don't like the fact that he's going to throw up a 20 without it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but we'll move on. Again, top team Roosters as well. They also have a good draw. A couple of people are holding the likes of players who I think should have been sold already. But we'll touch their draw. They play Broncos, Warriors, Dragons, Bulldogs, Titans over the next 5. Teddy's obviously a must have depending on who you have at fullback. But he's a great option. Other than Teddy at the Roosters, I don't think there's anyone that's you have to have. We've talked up the likes of Joey Manu, Daniel Tupu, even Angus if he can come back and start. Tupanua, Kiri, Walker. You've got a lot of options, but I don't think any of them are really
Well,
shouting pick me.
front row's starting to get better. Lindsay Collins starting to get more minutes and score more points. So if you wanted to go a different way in the front row, I wouldn't say no to Lindsay, even though you will definitely lose him for Origin.
I'd happily have Tupou, Manu and Teddy in my team if I could afford it.
Yeah.
Yep. So you'd load up on them.
I
See,
think
I had Walker to start, but I punted him off because I just didn't like what I was seeing. And, yeah, I don't know. Like, they just rely, both of them, even Kiri, they both rely heavily on attacking stats. And we thought they would come. But, yeah, I'm not as patient. Especially when you've got the likes of Hines and now Nath back and all these Munster, Dylan Brown, all these players gone big in the half. So, yeah. Anyway, next up on the list we had was the Eels. Over the next month, they play Titans, Tigers, Knights, and Cows. Obviously, IPAP's probably fixture proof. I think he's probably their top Supercoach player.
absolutely.
After that, they've got quite a few options. Now, a lot of people are going Moses and D-Bags this week.
Bags is a good get. Bags taking his game up a gear. He's running the ball. He's not just a passenger in the team like last year.
My issue is who you're selling to get to him. Like that's the whole issue with the trade. Like I wouldn't go Munster to him. There's no point selling Munster. And then if you're going to go one of Ilias or Schneider up to him, I think they've still got a lot more cash to make. So
Yeah, they do, but you get your solidified gun and you've locked it away.
Yep.
And then it's there, it's done, it's dusted.
I liked him a lot better last week when he was much more of a pod option. But
Yeah.
I still see huge appeal if Parramatta are going to keep playing the way they are and he's going to keep playing the way he does.
yeah,
He looks the goods, man.
He's living up to expectation finally.
Yeah.
Gutho could be a shout over Origin. Wanga Blake, I don't mind as a pod in the centre wing.
Well, I think you find...
Reed
Gaff-
Marnie, do you think he's going to hit back to form or do you think he's a no-go again?
I think he's where he's at. This is where Reed's at. That's where Reed's at. He's never been Harry Grant-esque, has
Yeah.
he? He's always been that tier below.
Maybe Con's boy Sean Lane goes on a bit of a run over the next month with that draw.
No,
They've got the
right.
ability to score points. And then my sneaky one that Con didn't have was actually the Cows. So they played Warriors, Raiders, Titans, Eels, Knights, Tigers. So the next 6 games. Now, Con said there's no options at the Cows. Now, I actually went and had a look, and there's quite a few highly owned
I didn't
players
say
at
there was
the Cows.
no. I said there wasn't great options, I don't think. I said Lolo was probably the best option being a forward, being fixture proof, but apart from that, they're all fickle.
Yeah, well, a lot of people have the likes of Nanai. Some people are bringing in Cotter. A lot of people have Hiku. We've got our mate over here who's brought in Did. And
Don't remind him. Poor Louis.
so, yeah, I actually think, there are a lot of people that have Cowboys players. So they are, quite dependent. And I think with that run, they should get a few wins. Tigers have a decent run as well, but, they're not going to score too many points. So, yeah, I think you're probably better off going with the top 4 teams in Roosters, Melbourne, Storm,
Especially
and
for backs.
and Rabbits was the last team out of the good teams. They had a good run, which
That's
we
it.
touched on before.
The Cowboys got a good draw, but they could easily lose half of them, if not more.
What's your thoughts on Arrow? With South's good run, do you think he's going to be a whole season long, or up until Origin at least?
I don't know. He's just surviving. Like
He's
where
got
he
that
needs
dual-
to be, kind of thing.
He's got that duel that makes him handy, but with South's good draw, AJ's dropping in price. I personally would prefer to go a Campbell Graham at centre wing. But yeah, Cody's dropping. I wouldn't mind Cody once Schneider peaks, but other than that, at South, Latrell, I just can't go because the issue is you can only have 2 fullback.
Yeah.
Is there any at South you'd go? Maybe Keon?
Nah, not for me now.
Cameron Murray's another one that a lot of people are going. Do you boys like him?
I do like him, Murray. I didn't like him at first till the boys
He's quite good looking, isn't he?
pointed something out. Yeah, he's a bit of a sort.
Yeah, Murray's pretty much the only one I'd touch at the moment. I want to see a lot more cohesion between the South's back line before I touch anyone else in their team.
Yeah, true. Even with their draw, we'd like to see a bit first. But yeah, that's about it. Do you have anyone else you wanted to throw in, Con?
What do you got there, Kilo? What's this?
Makes me crook.
Supercoach 360 podcast.